Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to determine the horizontal and vertical asymptotes of the graph of rational functions. I have here three examples. Number one is f of x equals 1 over x minus 1. Number two is f of x equals 1 over x squared minus 1. And number three is f of x equals 6x squared plus 3 all over 2x squared plus 4x. Okay, now I'm going to solve uh, rational function number one. We have f of x equals 1 over x minus 1. For the vertical asymptote, para makuha natin yung vertical asymptote, all we have to do is just to determine the restriction on the denominator of our rational function. And the restriction is x equals 1. I obtained the value of x equals 1 by equating the denominator to 0 and solve the value of x. Transposing negative 1 to the other side, we have x equals 1. So this is the vertical asymptote of the first rational function. And for the horizontal asymptote, we're going to follow the rules in determining the horizontal asymptote. That is by comparing the degree of x on the numerator to the degree of x on the denominator of the rational function. Okay. For example number 1, n of x, that is the polynomial on the numerator, is 1. Ang degree nito, ang degree ni x dito ay 0. Okay? Because x to the 0 is a constant term. So, ang degree ng x sa numerator is 0, while this denominator, d of x, we have x minus 1. Ang degree niya dito ay, the degree of x is 1. So, mas malaki ang degree ng x sa denominator kesa sa degree ng x sa numerator. Since ganon ang nangyari, degree of n of x is less than the degree of d of x, or d of x, or degree of d of x is greater than the degree of n of x. It means that the horizontal asymptote is the y-axis. That is the first rule in determining the horizontal asymptotes of a rational function. Therefore, our horizontal asymptote is y equals 0. Okay? So, nasagutan na natin the vertical asymptote, x equals 1, and the horizontal asymptote is y equals 0. Okay? So, that is the solution for example number 1. By the way, I'm not going to show you the graph of this rational function. We have a different video for the graphing of rational function. Okay. So we have now example number 2. And example number 2 is a rational function f of x 1 over x squared minus 1. We're going to determine the vertical and horizontal asymptotes. For the vertical asymptotes, all we have to do is to get the factors of x squared minus 1. So the factors of x squared minus 1 is 1 over x plus 1 and x minus 1. Okay? So therefore, the vertical asymptote, dalawa. The vertical asymptotes of this rational function will be x plus 1 equals 0, and the other one is x minus 1 equals 0. Therefore, the vertical asymptotes are x equals negative 1 and x equals 1. Okay? Yun ang kanyang vertical asymptotes. For the horizontal asymptote, i-compare lang natin yung degree of x sa numerator sa degree of x sa denominator. N of x is 1, and therefore, ang degree nito 0. Okay? Ang degree of x, degree is 0. Sa d of x, ang degree, we have x squared minus 1. So, ang degree dito ay, ni x ay 2. So, mas mataas pa rin, o mas mababa yung degree ng numerator sa degree of x sa denominator. Therefore, ang horizontal asymptote is the x-axis. Y equals 0 is our horizontal asymptote. Okay? So, yan. And to give you an idea about the graph of this rational function number 2, ganito ang graph niya. So, meron tayo dito ang vertical asymptotes, negative 1 and positive 1. Hindi siya dadaan dito. Okay, x equals negative 1, x equals 1, while the vertical horizontal asymptote is y equals 0. So, ito. So, yung graph niya pa ganito. Ganito siya. Tapos dito, ganyan siya. Okay? Now, ito yung kanyang y-intercept kasi if you let x equals 0, okay, y equals negative 1. So, tatama siya doon. Okay? Ang magiging restriction of y is the values from 0 to negative 1. So, yan, ang kanyang interval na hindi pwedeng maging values ni y. Okay, I'm going to tell you more about the restrictions on y, okay, and the graph of rational functions sa next lesson natin. That is graphing rational functions. Okay, but for now, hanggang doon na lang muna. We have example number 3. Okay, for example number 3, we have the function f of x equals 6x squared plus 3 over 2x squared plus 4x. So to determine the vertical asymptote, all we have to do is to equate the denominator to 0. So we have 2x squared plus 4x equals 0. So factoring 2x, we have 2x x plus 2 equals 0. So dalawa yung ating vertical asymptotes. Yung una, from 2x, we have x equals 0. And the other one is from here, we have x equals negative 2. So therefore, we have two vertical asymptotes for this rational function. And for the horizontal asymptote, we're going to compare the leading coefficients of the degree on the numerator. Sa leading coefficient ng highest degree din, we're just going to compare the degree of x on the numerator to the degree of x on the denominator of the rational functions. We have n of x. Our polynomials is 6x squared plus 3. Ang degree nito, 2. Okay. Sa baba, we have 2x squared plus 4x. Ang degree nito, 2 rin. So, equal yung kanilang degree of x on top at bottom ng ating rational function. Ang kanyang horizontal asymptote is the quotient of the leading coefficient on top and leading coefficient dun sa denominator. Ang leading coefficient dito ay 6. Ang leading coefficient dito ay 2. So, therefore, ang kanyang horizontal asymptote is y equals 3. So, okay, so this is now the last example in determining the horizontal and vertical asymptotes of a rational function. Actually, 3 lang kanina. I have added another example para naman for the third rule in determining the horizontal asymptote. Okay? For the vertical asymptote, again, equate x minus 2 to 0. Therefore, the vertical asymptote is x equals 2. Okay? For the horizontal asymptote, we have here 2x squared minus 3x plus 1. Ang degree nito, 2. Okay? Sa baba, x minus 2. Ang degree nito, 1. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, yung degree 2 is greater than 1. Mas malaki yung degree sa taas ng x. So, degree of n of x is greater than degree of d of x. Anong ibig sabihin nun? There is no horizontal asymptote. No horizontal asymptote. Okay. So, that will be the end of my video about determining the horizontal and vertical asymptotes of a rational function. Thank you.